The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Tohono Nation, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 40582. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started with a brief orientation, starting first with the front bumper access area, where you'll find open-ended tow hooks on each side, and then directly in the center you'll find your electronic siren PA speaker. As we move up onto the cab face, you'll find a marker turn indicator on the outer edge along with an emergency warning light. As we move inside to the grille area, you'll find forward-facing emergency warning lights, and as we move up onto the very top section of the hood, you'll find just above the Freightliner logo a grab handle for tilting your hood. As we move to the top of the fender well, you'll find forward-facing air horns, and moving up to the A-pillar of the cab, you'll find a flat mirror and convex mirror. Up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight, 5 identification clearance lights, and then further up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. First, starting with the front bumper area, where you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks. Located directly in the center, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. As we move up onto the grille of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning light forward-facing. Directly above the Freightliner logo is where you'll find the grab handle for accessing the hood area. Moving up now to the forward-facing floodlight. Moving back down to the headlight structure, housing low and high beam headlights and a marker light. Toward the rear of the headlight structure, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. As we move up onto the top of the fender well, you'll find your air horn, marker turn indicator, and then also a inlet for air for your engine. Here is the marker turn indicator light. As we move down to the front axle, you'll find Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. As we move toward the rear of the fender, you'll find the release mechanism for gaining access for tilting the hood. There's one on the passenger and driver side. As we move to the mirrors, you'll find a flat mirror on the top portion, convex mirror on the lower section. Easily accessible with your gloved hand, you can access the door handle and latch. It is a keyed. Moving right to the right, you'll find a grab handle for maintaining 3 points of contact for gaining entry in and out of the truck. As we move to the step well, you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. It's the silver cap. Right next to it is the DEF fill location, which is the blue cap. We do have some tags located here indicating caution, ultra low sulfur diesel fuel only. And then also as we move toward the blue cap, you'll find some additional caution information. First, indicating that you should only use the appropriate manufacturer's DEF fluid. And then also a warning here, turn off the engine before filling the DEF tank. Let's move to the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, grab handle. You'll also find this yellow placard affixed to the door panel on the driver's side. This is the placard manufactured by Pierce for your department, indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also houses the VIN number and all of the fluid components and fluid types. Let's move back to the very top section of the door panel, where you'll find door lock, window control, and also mirror control. As we move directly under the cab, you'll find LED lights. These are illuminating the step area for firefighter safety. As we move into the cab, just below the seat base is where you'll find the master battery switch. It's a quarter turn. Then as we move to the forward section of the floor, you'll find an air horn foot pedal switch. And then we'll move to the dash next, where you'll find a keyed ignition switch. And then also just above that, a yellow placard indicating information about your vehicle on the height of the vehicle, 9 feet 7 inches, length 25 feet 7 inches, gross vehicle weight rating
45,600 pounds. If you make any adjustments to your vehicle that may alter or affect any of these, please update this placard for your operator. Let's move from this location to the dash area and steering column, where you'll find on the left-hand side of the dash, windshield wiper control. Moving to the dash itself, you'll find your oil pressure. Just inside that location is the fuel gauge. Moving further to the right, you'll find the air pressure. And then moving further to the very edge, you'll find water temp. As we move to the two upper gauges, you're going to find on the left-hand side the tachometer RPM gauge. Moving to the right, you'll find the speedometer miles per hour gauge. Located directly in the center is a digital display. This will be valuable to all of your information regarding your vehicle status. As you move to the steering column, you'll find on the left-hand side controls and also on the right-hand side controls. As we move to the forward section, this is your monitor for your backup camera system. Moving into the face of the dash, you'll find the vehicle data recording port along with power for outlets, 12-volt barrel style. This is the yellow pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. These are the rear spring brakes. You'll also find tally lights located on each left and right side of the forward-facing dash. Also a red switch at the very top. This is your emergency flasher or four-way flashers. You'll also find your dome light, footwell, and automatic traction control. Moving to the right, you'll find the regen activation or regen off switch. Moving down, PTO for your pump, high idle, and alarm reset. Also, seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green they're in the seat and belted. Moving just down from this location, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. And then just underneath this, you'll find a placard here indicating your functions for the engine brake and also Allison transmission. As we move overhead, you'll find all of your emergency warning lights located in the upper section over the driver's space, along with scene lights located to the very far right, and any future switch locations may be necessary. As we move to the right, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker control module. As we move to the exterior, we'll start at the pump panel at the very top section with your crosslays. There are two located here, crosslay 1 and crosslay number 2. As we move just above this area into the dunnage area, you'll find your master stream device. Let's move back down to the pump panel now. Start with the master pump discharge gauge in the upper left-hand corner. As we move down, you'll find the master pump intake gauge. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find the blue module, which is your water tank level indicator. Just underneath that, you'll find two ports. These are your vacuum and pressure ports. They're currently plugged, and these are utilized for testing purposes. Just to the right and at the very top section, panel lights, and then also you'll find scene lights. As we move to the pump boss, this is your pressure throttle governor. Please see the owner's manual for more information on its operation. Below that, an audible alarm speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate, allowing to increase or decrease sound. And also an OK to pump indicator if things have been properly engaged inside the cab area. Minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. As we move down, we have crosslay 1, deluge discharge, large diameter passenger side discharge, tank fill and recirculating line. Crosslay 2, driver 1, driver 2, and also your engine cooler. You'll also find your fire pump primer. There are instructions for its operation, at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. To the right, the tank to pump, and then just below that, driver side 1, 2.5-inch discharge. Let's take a quick look at the full panel. On the left, you'll find some warning placards here indicating warning, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure, be cautious when opening them. Also, warning, entanglement hazard, because the line's coming from the crosslay, there's the possibility of entanglement. We also have the wattress placard indicating the capacity of the pump, 1,250 GPM. As we move just down to the bottom, you'll find a 2.5-inch auxiliary locally controlled at the ball valve inlet, female. Also, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains across the very bottom, just above the diamond plate. We do have an air inlet located here, and then to the far right, you'll find the master pump drain. And then further to the right, you'll find the shoreline inlet. This is an auto eject 20 amp plug. And as we move down across the bottom, once again, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move to the body section next. We'll start first up at the lower section under the front compartment, just in front of the rear axle. You'll find wheel chock storage for 2 folding wheel chocks. To the rear of the axle, emergency warning light side facing. As we move up to the very top, you'll find side facing scene lights at the top of the body. And then toward the very rear of the body at the top, you'll find an emergency warning light. Let's go ahead and take a couple close-ups here. First, let's take a look at the scene lights located. This is the front section of the body. Then we'll move over to the rear section of the body, which has a combination scene light and right next to that, emergency warning light. To the rear of the axle, emergency warning light, part of the lower emergency warning light zone. And then as we move to the rear compartment, LED lighting, ventilation with inside the compartment. And then just below this under the front compartment, this is the storage location for your wheel chocks. Let's go ahead and move to the forward compartment inside rear wall, where you'll find when plugged into shoreline power, the battery charger will activate, activating battery status and maintaining batteries. Let's move to the over wheel compartment next, where you'll find storage location and also a D handle, which will gain you access to the rear portion of the tool board. The tool board will open to a 90-degree and lock into position. When the tool board is locked into position on the hinge side, you'll find this release mechanism for allow you to restore it back to its original position. On the rear wall, you also have additional tool board storage locations. This is the very rear compartment. We'll now move to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items within this space. Let's first start at the very bottom, where you'll find an emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light next to the ladder. As we move to the very top section, this is the upper zone rear emergency warning light. Toward the center, you'll find a backup camera, and then moving now just to the right side of this image, emergency warning light rear facing. Let's go back toward the lower section, where you'll find a few warning placards here. This is a warning regarding fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Also an additional warning placard here regarding fall hazard. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And a warning here, because of the lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of an entanglement hazard. As we move to the left and right, once again, emergency warning, brake, turn, and reverse. As we move to the rear cupped area scene, hose bed's light switch. This controls the light within the hose bed area. And then also your license plate bracket and light. As we move toward the center, coming off the rear frame rail, you'll find 2 tow hooks located, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. You also have at the very rear of the apparatus a rear dump chute, which is directional. Next to the dump chute, you'll find also a direct tank fill, locally controlled via the ball valve. As we move just under the rear running board, you'll find LED lighting. Let's go ahead and move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle. As we start at the very top section, you'll find an emergency warning light and then also a side-facing scene light. Let's move down where your ladder storage is located. Just under the ladder storage, you'll find pike pole storage and also 10-foot folding ladder storage located here just on the diamond plated area. Above that, 24-foot and 14-foot roof ladder. Emergency warning light, this is just to the rear of the rear axle. As we move into the compartment, you'll also find LED lights and also ventilation. Moving forward to this location to your wheel set, where you'll find Alcoa wheel and a Michelin tire. Just forward of this location is the exhaust port. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operation. Up from that location, you'll find a compartment with an adjustable shelf. At the very top section, side-facing scene light and grab handle. As we move back down, you'll find 2 folding steps. These are on the front section of the body. And now let's move to the pump panel area at the very top. These are the 2 cross lays and then also an access panel here. This is for accessing behind the pump panel. Let's start on the left-hand side and we'll move through a few of these images. First, large diameter passenger side discharge. Just underneath that, you're going to find a 2.5-inch discharge. And then toward the bottom section, you'll find your large diameter pump inlet. along with a warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move just to the left to the access panel, and then as we move down to the very bottom, just above the running board, this is where you're going to find color-coded and labeled discharge drains, along with this warning placard indicating that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. Here are the color-coded and labeled discharge drains, and then also a reference to the minimum operation maintenance schedule. Let's go ahead and move now full view of the pump panel and front portion of the cab. We'll go now to the A-pillar where you'll find your mirror, once again housing a flat and convex mirror. As you move toward the cab door here, you'll find easily accessible with a gloved hand. This is the door lock and latch, and also a grab handle. Into the step area, you'll find LED light illuminating each of the step areas. As we look into the cab area, you'll find a grab handle referenced right next to the seat and also on the A-pillar. As we move inside the cab at the floor level, you'll find a foot pedal for your air horn. And then just as we mentioned earlier, there are LED lights just under the cab area for illuminating the step area. Inside on the door panel, window control and door lock. We'd like to point out all of our safety and warning placard information on the actual door panel. Let's go back to the exterior forward section of the fender area where you'll find the air horn on top of the fender, and then just below that you'll find your marker turn indicator light on the top of the fender. To the rear of the fender is where you'll find the release latch for gaining access into the hood, both on the passenger and driver's side. To the front axle where you'll find Michelin tires and the Alcoa wheel. Moving forward just of this location, you're going to find a side-facing emergency warning light directly to the rear of the headlight structure, which is next, which houses a low and high beam headlight marker turn indicator. Also in the very front bumper section, you'll find unit identifier number 230. Congratulations on your new apparatus. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.